Welcome back, everyone. We're here with another Q&A. Anything that I say is not meant to diagnose or even replace your medical care. Check with your doc before implementing any of the suggestions or tips that we're about to provide you. Let's dive right in, Steve. We have a lot of
It's all
questions lined up.
about you, audience, and the doctor's wonderful opinions and dialogues and so on. Anyway, Sham Shadi from YouTube. I'm on 2 blood pressure meds, experiencing ototoxicity and hearing loss. What do you suggest I do to reverse these conditions? That doesn't sound like any fun.
Now, are those side effects from the medication? Obviously, I can't tell you to come off of it, but there's so many things you can do for blood pressure. Number 1, increasing your potassium. Number 2, definitely increasing your magnesium. And 3, increasing your vitamin D. And maybe, just maybe, you might not need the high blood pressure medication. My question is, what causes it, and what's the mechanism behind the drug that's apparently working that we can mimic with natural things? But yeah, with those symptoms, I would need more data. Are they side effects from something? I don't know. So that's all I can give you.
All right, well, good luck with that, and get back with us if you find something that works. Catwoman from YouTube. I'm dealing with hypertension. What can I do naturally to get, well, here we go, back levels to normal? I am on medications, but would like to wean myself off them. Can you offer anything additional to that, Doc?
So we've already talked about the 3 things: potassium, magnesium, and vitamin D. I think one of the other things that usually causes high blood pressure is a lack of something called nitric oxide. And when you lose that, you don't get the vasodilation effect in the arteries, because the inside of your arteries is this single layer cell called the endothelial cell, very, very important. And it gets hammered with like sugar and everything you eat. It's going to affect that. So how do we increase that lining of the inside of the arteries to reestablish the normal nitric oxide that you need? Couple things you can add in addition to what I just told you. Actually getting out and getting sun every single day will actually increase your nitric oxide. So exposure to sun, exercise, so important for increasing nitric oxide. The top food of everything you can eat would be arugula. Now, of course, you'd have to eat a lot of it to compare with like beet juice powder. Beet juice powder, like 1 scoop would give you a nice shot of nitric oxide. Polyphenols will also increase your nitric oxide from, things like berries and also cacao. Do the raw cacao. So what I'll do in the morning is after my coffee, about 2 hours, I do the raw milk, and then I put a scoop of the cacao. That's raw cocoa. It's actually raw cacao powder, which is something chocolate's made from. Cocoa is the heated. I do the raw, and then I don't sweeten. And I put a scoop of the beet juice powder in it, and I mix it up. I don't sweeten it. You could put some stevia in it, but I mix it up, slug that down, and that way it doesn't compete with the caffeine from the coffee. Now, some people mix with the coffee. That's fine, but you'll get a little better effects of the inside of the artery if you just do it like I said, not exactly at the same time. And you can just use water too, and just take that cacao, mix it up, and slug it down. There's a lot of benefits, but one is the nitric oxide, so helping your circulation. And you're not just fixing the arteries around your heart, you're fixing the arteries everywhere else, including your brain.
Wow, well, that sounds like a delicious remedy for what ails you. Christy from Facebook, what's the best solution for peripheral neuropathy?
Benfotiamine. It is a synthetically made B1, but it's a fat soluble version, so it penetrates the fat around the nerves called the myelin, and it works wonderful for peripheral neuropathy. It's I recommend it. It works really great. So you'd want to have like, if you just on the bottle, whatever it says, just take 1 4 times a day and spread it out just to keep it in your system. And sometimes a little added alpha lipoic acid would take you to the next level as well. So that's what I'd recommend.
All right, very good. Now, here's something that I'm interested in hearing the answer to, and there it is, Doc.
True or false? Most yogurts sold for gut health actually damage your gut.
Ouch. Okay, give me the information that I request, audience. I'm dying to know what the answer is. Karen from Facebook, how can I regain nerve health along the spine and discs?
Depends what's wrong. I mean, is it a B12 deficiency could create severe uh, spinal cord nerve pain, also a disc protrusion, or let's say you have stenosis where the cord is is being obstructed by certain things inside the spinal column. So I think the best way to deal with those nerves, there's a couple key B vitamins that are really important, B12 and B1 for anything neurological. Secondly is to reduce your inflammation. That could be done by lowering your carbohydrates, starches and sugars, as well as doing intermittent fasting. So that alone will drop your inflammation more than anything else. Even a periodic prolonged fasting, that's what I would recommend.
All right, very good. Well, Brown26 from YouTube has a question or a condition that I'm sure many suffer from. And he says, I've been battling chocolate cravings for years. How can I lower these cravings?
I would consume chocolate in the form of very, very dark chocolate, 85% or more. So that has just the smallest amount of sugar. And you can even get it with stevia. Um, there's a lot of benefits in this, in chocolate or cacao. There's a lot of benefits. I'm like blown away. So your body's probably wanting that, but just don't give it all the sugar with it. So um, there's also high levels of magnesium. Now, because some people will tell you, well, the chocolate's very, very high in oxalates, so that could be a problem. But it's also very high in magnesium that interferes with the calcium oxalate. So the affinity for magnesium to oxalates is like way stronger than calcium. So I my my theory is that the magnesium is going to help lower the bad effects from oxalates. But a lot of people get benefits from that cacao.
Interesting. Do you think Brown's primary problem then is sugar in the chocolate? And maybe chocolate's not
I
so.
don't, I don't, I don't know, but I think the problem with giving into most of the chocolate is the high sugar. So
Yep.
if you could take it and sweeten it with something else, that would be better, or have the minimal amount of sugar possible in the chocolate, which is the dark chocolate.
All right, Brown, good luck with that. Now, Brown, I don't know if you saw quiz question number one, but excuse me, many of the audience did, and it asked, true, false, most yogurts sold for gut health actually damage your gut, and 100% of our audience say that that's true. It's horrible for you.
When you go to the grocery store and you see all these yogurts, I eat yogurt. I try to find a yogurt that I can eat. It's really, really hard. So I want the grass-fed, organic, whole milk Bulgarian yogurt, right? That's what I want. But I'll I'll do other ones as well. But think about the vast majority of these yogurts are sweetened with crap, not just sugar. Sometimes it's with high fructose corn syrup. And in addition to that, they'll put a lot of starches, modified food starches in there. I mean, it's just literally, and you think you're getting some probiotics from that. So, plus the high sugar in there is going to feed the bad bacteria. And on top of that, there's a certain percentage of the yogurt that's pasteurized after they add the microbes in there. So you're eating the dead microbial carcasses, actually the dead carcasses of bacteria. I mean, it's just like the benefits of commercial yogurt is a joke because they also add emulsifiers, which hurt the gut lining. And so I'm going to do a video on yogurt because I think if you get the right one, it could be super beneficial. I have yogurt on a daily basis. I also like kefir, which is a little more sour. But if you can make your own yogurt from the L-reuteri, that would be best. And if you haven't seen that video, look it up.
All right, audience, there is hope. Aurora from Facebook, does L-glutamine help heal diverticulosis? I think I said all that right.
Yes. Yes. Anything inflamed gut wise, glutamine is great for that. It helps heal. And take a wild guess, Steve, what food is high in glutamine?
Okay, let's see. Let's go to
I
BRLP
guess
11.
Steve, I was actually asking you a question.
Oh
So,
my God, I'm
what
sorry.
what all out of all the foods, what's the highest in glutamine?
Oh, good grief. I wish I know that because I'd appear smart.
Okay, so it's meat. Meat. So this is why the carnivore, this is one of the reasons why the carnivore diet is really good for certain people with inflammation in the gut, because you're feeding it glutamine, and you're going to create a cool effect on that. So um, instead of taking glutamine as a supplement, just start eating more meat and cut down the other stuff. Also, the worse off your gut is as far as inflammation, the worse effects are going to be created when you eat fiber, because it's going to be like sandpaper on an open wound. So I'm sure you've heard about, oh yeah, for the gut health you need fiber, 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 prebiotic fiber. No, you don't. That's going to create more of a problem.
Oh dear. Well, I'm one of those people that was brainwashed to think that. Here's some people that aren't brainwashed because they're listening to the show. We'd like to say a good morning to all of our viewers joining us from the UK, Canada, Mexico, Jordan, Armenia, Moldova, Romania, Turkey, Australia, Greece, Ethiopia, Oman, American Samoa, the Philippines, Qatar, Iran, Poland, the Czech Republic, South Africa, New Zealand, Finland, Eritrea, Italy, Kuwait, Venezuela, Indonesia, Sweden, Singapore, the Netherlands, India, Egypt, Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Ireland, the Virgin Islands, Pakistan, Japan, Norway, Kuala Lumpur, Jamaica, Panama, Curacao, Sal, as it were, Chile, Saudi Arabia, Germany, Brazil, Ghana, Colombia, Ecuador, Vietnam, Trinidad and Tobago, Israel, Brunei, Slovakia, Switzerland, Scotland, beautiful place, Nepal, Spain, Cameroon, Ukraine, Malta, and all across these United States of America. And I really do need to emphasize again, what a phenomenon that we all join joyfully for a common goal of living healthy and being better under the tutelage of Dr. Berg, who offers no cures, by the way, so keep that in mind. And we're very grateful for all of you making the show such a great success. Gabriella from Rumble, I'm a 26-year-old female, and my metabolic test revealed I have normal insulin sensitivity, yet I have male pattern hair growth. Keratosis, I'm sorry, yeah. Keratosis, pilaris, and dandruff. Good grief. What is the cause of these conditions that I can barely pronounce?
Well, you're smart to check the test. I think you test the HOMA-IR, which is a test to measure insulin resistance, because that's usually the big thing behind hair loss, hair problems, receding hairline, male and female pattern loss with the hair. So that's good. And that's lowering your carbohydrates and doing intermittent fasting. That's really important. That should help. But there's also some other factors involved in the hair as well. If you had PCOS, I would up your inositol. That seems to be a good remedy for that. I would also recommend increasing your vitamin D, which actually feeds the little thing around the root of the hair with zinc and B vitamins. Those are all really important. So I would imagine there could be something related to those nutrients in relationship to your hair. But again, if you also have dandruff or flaky scalp, that's usually a problem with your gut, the microbiome, because it's amazing. Whatever goes on in your gut with your microbes, it shows up on the outside of the skin, even in the scalp. There's a great couple remedies that I recommend for your scalp, using onion juice and also rosemary oil, and yeah, there's all these things that you could do, and then to help balance out the oils and help get rid of some of if there's dandruff or even psoriasis.
Wow, that's hopeful. Okay, quiz question number 2. There you have it, Doc.
What's so damaging about modern wheat compared to the ancient wheat?
I was led to believe it was all rotten. That's sort of encouraging that maybe they were a little healthier back then.
Well,
Let
I'm just comparing them. I'm not saying you should start eating ancient, but what's the big difference between the two?
Okay, good question. Jump on that, audience. And let's go to Linda from YouTube. What's the best way to treat inflammation due to the horrible Crohn's disease? I'm sorry you have that, Linda.
Again, we're dealing with inflammation in the gut, right? So that usually comes from eating modern wheat, but also other things too, like seed oils and things that can create more inflammation in the gut. So that being said, I think the most important thing right now is to heal the gut and limit the amount of things that can irritate it. And for Crohn's, I would highly recommend you do at least a couple months on the carnivore to see if you can't reestablish your gut and minimize the irritants to the gut. Um, that's what I would recommend.
All right, very good. Princess from Facebook. What an adorable name or handle. Can I take magnesium glycinate if I am pre-diabetic with high cholesterol and high LDL?
Especially, you should especially take it because that magnesium can greatly help you in relationship to your blood sugars. And I would also recommend, in addition to that, I would start cutting down your carbohydrates. When I tell people to cut the carbs, it doesn't really uh, seem to communicate. So sometimes I have to break it down even more and say, okay, read the label, just get rid of anything with sugar, okay, sugar, and bring the carbs down, which is, they don't really list this unless you read the ingredients, but there's a classification of industrial starches that it's kind of hidden because they don't say starches on the label. They'll hide it as these big words like maltodextrin, modified food starch, modified cornstarch, tapioca flour, wheat flour. These are all highly processed industrial starches, which are basically sugars that you need to reduce to be able to see any change with diabetes, with polycystic ovarian syndrome, with a fatty liver, with obesity, and the list goes on and on and on.
All right, very good. Let's go to Paulette from YouTube. What can a postmenopausal woman do to keep her iron levels in the blood a normal level? Is there such a thing, I guess?
So if you're eating, a few times a week, red meat, that should give you enough iron. But let's say, for example, you still have a problem with iron, um, either too low or even sometimes too high. Copper is another trace mineral that you need in small amounts that actually can help to regulate the availability of iron in your body. So again, the way that I would address it is just to start eating healthy. Don't avoid animal protein because you get a lot of iron from that. But I think there's before menopause, you're menstruating, you're losing iron, but after menopause, iron's really hard to get rid of. So I would not in any way take a iron supplement at all. Always get your iron from actual food.
All right. So you said that men, can really goof themselves up by over ingesting iron. After menopause, are women in the same boat, or do they somehow have a remedy for keeping it low? Are they in?
No, they have they're in the same boat because they're not able to there's no mechanism that just gets rid of excess iron. So it's one of those nutrients that our body considers very important, so it holds on to it compared to other nutrients that you can easily get rid of if in excess amounts. So iron is one of the food for microbes too, just so you know, both good and bad. So our body has all these different systems to hide the iron from pathogens. So it's a whole war to get iron. And when someone has a genetic problem where they have too much iron, what's fascinating is that they're at the same time usually anemic. So wait a second. Why? How can that be? Well, it's because it's all locked up in the cells and it's not available in the blood. So the secret to that is to copper. Copper actually helps mobilize and helps keep iron safely stored. It keeps it available for the cells. So it's a bit of a complexity, but something to think about if you have an iron problem.
All right. Good luck, everybody else. Okay, let's go to quiz question number 2, and there it is. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm going
Yeah.
to
What's
answer.
the
Forgive me. Here's the deal. It asks, what is so damaging about modern wheat compared to ancient wheat? And I thought ancient wheat was better, but not necessarily. 78% of our respondents say modern wheat has fewer nutrients and is processed more heavily. 12% say modern wheat has more gluten and glyphosate, and 10% say ancient wheat is milled differently and has more bran and nutrients. That sounds like smart answers.
Yeah. So with modern wheat, it actually has a lot more chromosomes. The genetic structure is completely different. And even the gluten in there, which is the protein, is different than the ancient wheat. In fact, it's extremely resistant to digestion. So here you are eating this product, can't digest the protein. The protein is highly reactive to your colon, even if you're not allergic. So it's going to start creating problems with the colon, more permeability, which means leaky gut. So now we have a situation because once that gut opens up, then your immune system is ready to incorrectly tag that as a pathogen. Now, what's interesting about the chemistry of gluten, there's different types of gluten. There's gluten is kind of a general category of a bunch of different, they're called gliadinins. But the point is that the molecular structure of that protein is very similar to the thyroid gland tissue. So if you get that tagged as being a pathogen, something harmful, then guess what? Now you have antibodies that are made that are attacking your own thyroid. Thus the high incidence of Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid problem, comes from the gluten. So ancient wheat has much lower gluten, much safer gluten. And I don't think they even use glyphosate, which is the other class of, it's Roundup Ready, and they use it as a drying agent for this wheat. But the problem with that is it's classified and patented as an antibiotic. So here we are eating this food that's an antibiotic. And then in the modern wheat, you have anti-nutrients like phytic acid, which blocks zinc and magnesium and other nutrients that are supposed to heal the gut. Like, explain to me what's good about wheat. There's nothing good for your body, yet they say it's heart healthy, which are just full of it. So then, and on top of that, the starch on wheat is super, it's going to spike your blood sugar. I mean, and then the brand of the fiber part is not the best fiber for you. So again, we've been fed this lie, primarily because there's a lot of money involved with wheat because we subsidize it. So the taxpayers pay to make it, and then the companies get it really cheap. They can make all these products that sit on the shelf for a long time that you buy. You get the side effects, then you have to pay for the treatment later. So you pay 3 times. So it's a big problem. Now with einkorn, which is an ancient wheat, it's I'm not recommending it, but it's definitely a lot better. But definitely it's like there's a huge difference between the two.
Interesting, but yet better ways to eat. Let's go with quiz question number 3, and here it is.
Okay, what does the average American eat more of, sugar or starch?
All right, climb on that audience, and let's go right over to Vincent from Rumble. I live near Vancouver, and we don't get a lot of sun this time of year. Should I be taking vitamin D every day? Can a UVB lamp be a reasonable substitute for taking vitamin D? And can vitamin D and K2 accelerate the healing of a cracked rib? Threw that in.
I don't know if it's going to accelerate the crack rib. It might, but there are certain lamps that you can get, safe lamps that you can make some vitamin D. I would highly recommend you take as a maintenance dose 10,000 IUs of vitamin D3 every single day if you live in that part of the world, because you don't have the benefit of getting enough sun. So most of the vitamin D is produced when the sun is right completely over you, But the problem is you're so far north, we don't ever get that angle. So you could be easily deficient. Now I'd also enhance, at least get the be out in the sun as much as you can. So because there's a lot of other benefits that go beyond vitamin D from the sun. Infrared is one of them. So definitely get sun exposure for all that. But yeah, you might want to just take vitamin D as a supplement, and also eat foods that might have some vitamin D as well. Sardines, cod liver oil. These are all important things.
All right, well, I'll tell you what, the audience is a big part of our show, and they take it seriously because they've already answered quiz question number 3, which asks, what does the average American eat more of, sugar or delicious starch? 82% of our respondents say it's starch, and 18% say it's sugar, and I apologize for calling it delicious. Who's right?
So starch is, we're not talking about the potatoes that your grandmother made for you. We're talking about industrial starch. Okay. This is what most people, I'm looking around for I have a bucket of it. Yeah, I have it right here, Steve. I'll show you. So here's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about starch.
Oh,
right?
yum. Wow.
I mean, it was so cheap to buy this cornstarch. They use it plaster walls. They use it in epoxy glues as a binder. But of course, we put it in the food supply as well. Now, what we're doing when we're eating starch is we're eating hidden sugar because it breaks down the sugar. When it says modified, it goes through quite a few different chemicals that are added to that. And then if you ever notice the starch is white, how do they get it white? Bleach. So again, when you're eating these junk food, you're getting a tremendous, like 3 times as much starch than sugar. But people don't talk about it. But it's hidden sugar. It'll spike your blood sugar more than sugar, but it's listed as no sugar. So I would avoid it. It's not good for you. They put it in as a filler. That's the purpose. And it's going to overload the mitochondria to the point where you're going to deplete your B1. And then you're going to have a lot of nervous tension and anxiety. And you'll have lactic acid buildup, restless leg syndrome. You'll probably have sleep problems. A whole series of things will happen, which I'm a perfect example. Happened to me. I had no idea even what a starch was. So we're not talking about the starch from vegetables. We're talking about the starch from grains.
Interesting. Okay, the audience is eating these things alive. So let's go with quiz question number 4 for them.
Okay, what is the primary reason why cutting calories fails to help you lose weight?
That's interesting. What a jip. Okay, let's go to Sherry from Facebook. What are your thoughts about taking colloidal copper or regular copper for, well, we talked about it, anemia, and I think we already know, but anything to add on that?
Yeah, I think that's a good thing for anemia. There's a great book on copper you can read and study and so you take the right amount. Also realize that when you're dealing with trace minerals, you always want to take it in a blend of other trace minerals, so you're not going to create a problem with other things because they all work together. In nature, you never see a single trace mineral. So copper works with zinc. So if people take just zinc without copper, they have a problem. So I always want to get it in a base of all the trace minerals.
All right, poor old Saxy joins millions and he's from Rumble. What can I do to treat bile reflux and what causes it? My gallbladder was savagely ripped out 10 months ago. No, I added that, but he had it removed 10 months ago.
So a lot of times people, when they feel this acid reflux, they think it's just acid. Sometimes it can be bile that comes up from a lower part of your small intestine up through the stomach and up through the esophagus. And bile is like a detergent. It can actually irritate the tissues, especially in your esophagus. So if that's the problem, then there could be some blockage or sludge that's causing it to reflux. So I would recommend TUDCA, 2 in the morning, empty stomach, 2 in the afternoon, empty stomach, to kind of keep the flow going. That could help you. But also start doing intermittent fasting and then do the clean version of keto to help you. One of the problems of the bile sludge is you might not have enough bile. And that can happen from eating the wrong foods and even going on a completely low-fat diet. So all of these things are contributory to this issue.
Okay. Well, all of us humans are subject to the same kind of aches and pains and illnesses, but we often forget what Bomac23 from Rumble is asking. What would you recommend for a person with severe PTSD and, as he describes them, shot nerves?
I would recommend daily long walks. I'm talking about an hour of just walking in the woods, getting space, getting yourself out of an environment that can be hectic and stressed, because you want to keep the stress very low. I would take ashwagandha. I would take B1. I would do physical work. I would create hobbies. Yeah, actually not create hobbies. I would just do a lot more hobbies to keep yourself busy so you don't have to think about certain things. And all these things are super therapeutic to help with that.
All right.
And also, of course, sleep. Sleep is going to be really important too.
Okay, get some sleep. We're all behind you. Lindsay from
More
Facebook?
sleep.
Good. Okay, Lindsay
Yeah,
from
just more
Facebook, I have celiac disease, Hashimoto's, now write this down, POTS, bile acid, malabsorption, and anemia. I'm gluten-free, dairy-free, rice and oat-free. What's the best thing poor Lindsay can do to prevent these autoimmune issues?
In addition to what I've already said about Hashimoto's, eliminating all the grains and things like that, obviously you have gut issues. So obviously you probably had too many grains. I think the best diet would be the carnivore for you, because a lot of these things are related to the gut and it's hard to heal anything. So at least for several months, do the carnivore and see how you feel. Take zinc carnosine. With POTS, that is a situation with the autonomic nervous system, and that could come from different reasons. But one of the things that helps POTS is higher doses of natural vitamin B1. And the version of B1 I would recommend is called all-o-thiamine. And you take good amounts of it, and that can help to increase the autonomic nervous system and help you when you stand up, you don't feel dizzy or you don't fall down.
Okay, poor Jean Jesse wants to know what's the best way to get rid of hemorrhoids, and I hear that's awful, or can be.
Collinsonia root. It's something you can get as a supplement. Take 2 of those per day, and over a course of several weeks. What usually causes those is we're dealing with this vein that kind of pops out more than it should. And it could be like you're lifting heavy weights with squats, or if someone gave birth, all these extra pressures can blow out this vein. So Collinsonia root is one of the best remedies for that.
Okay, let's see. Let's go to quiz question number 4, which the audience ripped into as usual. And it asks, what is the primary reason why cutting calories fails to help you lose weight? 85% of our respondents said calorie restriction can slow down or stall the metabolism. That's interesting. 10% say the body will react in starvation mode, and 5% say it can impact hormonal fluctuations. Do these sound like smart people, Doc?
Yeah, it does sound like smart people. So first of all, when people typically cut their calories, they don't cut the carbohydrates in those calories. So the great majority of people will have a low calorie, higher carbohydrate diet. Okay. Now, if you don't cut your calories and lower your carbohydrates, then the carbohydrates are going to be too high to prevent you from tapping into your own stored energy. So if you can't tap into the fat, you're going to be dependent on the next meal, which means you're going to be starving all the time. You're going to be hungry. You're going to be craving things. This is not sustainable. This is why people give up. You can't do it for long, because you're just like so hungry and you don't feel good because your blood sugars are off. So that's a big problem. Now, what'll happen, a lot of people have already experimented on that diet, because they were on the diet so many times in their 20s and 30s. And every time you do it, the metabolism appears to slow down, but it really is not slowing down. it's becoming more efficient because adapting to it, but not in a good way, um, because it's becoming not very flexible where they can burn their own fat. So how do you fix all that? What you do is you go on low carb and have sufficient nutrients and forget about the calories. Just have sufficient nutrient to get your body healthy, animal protein, some other things as well. And you know, if you can watch videos on that. But the point is, we don't want to do higher carbs because we need to be able to tap into this. And if you do that, your hunger will go away, your cravings will go away, your insulin is down now, and that's going to actually help you lose more of this right here, and that's kind of what you're trying to do. So really the secret is to kind of go low carb regardless of whatever you're doing. And of course, I'm not telling you to load up on all your fats. I'm just saying go low carb, have sufficient other calories, and watch what happens because it's sustainable. You lose weight, and then your metabolism will feel like it's getting faster, but really it's just becoming more flexible in what it burns. And what's really cool is that you're going to waste a lot of fat when you go on keto because you're going to be breathing out ketones, you're peeing out ketones, you're basically breathing out and peeing out extra fat. So anyway, I can do a whole video on that right now, but I'm not going to do that, Steve.
All right, very good. Well, I tell you what, these questions are getting ripped through so quick. The audience is going to be the big benefactor because we're going to have a marathon of their questions. In the meantime, we do have a guest, Keisha. Would you pop on camera when you get a chance, Keisha? And I'm going to come to you after this next question. Okay, let's go to Chris from Facebook. Is there a hack to get rid of seed oils already in the body? Haven't heard that one.
Yeah, it's just basically stop eating them. And because seed oils or omega-6 compete with omega-3, start to increase more of the omega-3 without any of the omega-6. I mean, you got to realize that the argument they're pushing for seed oils is, oh, it's essential. We need it. Yes, we do need it, but we can get it from these other foods that are high in omega-3. So we don't need to go out of our way and have a low quality seed oil because the seed oils have been put in jars. They've been through a factory, and they're very fragile, unsaturated bonds. So explain to me how they can put this in a bottle, be exposed to oxygen, light, and not go rancid. Explain that to me, please. I'm trying to understand that. It's highly fragile. I mean, I don't know anyone who even buys cold pressed seed oils. And then what are you going to buy? Corn oil and put it on your salad? What would you use it for? Most people buy these oils to fry things in, to cook things in. So they're actually getting more heat. And the problem with that is it gives off this this byproduct called aldehydes, which that alone is not good for your cell membranes. It creates inflammation, and it can start the whole insulin resistant problem.
Okay, well, I would explain all that to you, but I have to go to Keisha from New York, who is on the air with us now with a question. Go ahead with your question, Keisha. Keisha, I think you're muted.
I think I was.
There you go.
Thanks for having me today. My question has to do with a journey I started back in 2000. I started a low carb lifestyle, and very quickly I lost power and strength in my legs. I actually fell down the stairs a couple of times, but hey, I'm a woman. And so I said falling down the stairs was worth being smaller. And so about 10 years ago, my body just would not allow me to lose weight on low carb anymore. Yet the leg weakness has persisted. And so I'm curious, if I'm not doing low carb and I'm eating carbs, why do I still have this weakness in my legs?
So, a couple questions. Is it possible you're not consuming enough salt?
That is something to consider. I am not a salty lover. So, and I don't overly salt my food. So, and when I cook, I do salt, but that is not a flavor profile that I enjoy. So that's possible.
Because the only reason I'm bringing it up, because sometimes when you go on keto, if you don't, what happens is you get rid of a lot of excess fluid, and with that you lose more
Mm,
salt than you should. And sodium is so important in muscle strength. So when you're low
mm,
on sodium, the muscles get weak. And also, it takes a little more salt to keep the adrenals charged up. And if there's
mm,
an adrenal weakness going into it, what happens, especially as someone goes in, even in menopause, you need more adrenal help. Uh, One of the particular symptoms would be lower body weakness, especially
mm.
climbing things, going up an incline. They might feel it more as well. But so supporting the adrenals, maybe some more salt, do sea salt, might just solve your problem. So that's just two thoughts I have: supporting adrenal and then the salt. And then, are you saying that do you lose more weight with more carbs?
No, I have not been able to get to the size I like. And that is very frustrating for me because despite the crazy falling down the stairs, I was able to have a weight that I was way more comfortable with. So I thought, hey, I'll
Okay,
just eat more carbs and this weakness will go away, but it has not.
got it. So do three things. Just try to increase your sea salt a little bit more. See if that doesn't help you. Also, try to do flexibility stretching on your lower legs with maybe some gentle squats as far down as you can go, just to strengthen the lower legs. And the last thing I was going to recommend would be to do a little more intermittent fasting. So let's say you're just not eating as frequent. So whatever if you're doing 2 meals, do 1 meal, and then see if that at least doesn't lower your insulin to help you balance out so you can actually lose the weight.
Well, Keisha, thank you so much for a great call. That was really interesting. We wish you all the best. And Keisha, this is for you too. Let's go to quiz question number 5, our final one for the day. And it's a seemingly easy true falser. Go ahead, Dr. Berg.
True or false? Most hypothyroid conditions require consuming more iodine.
True or false, audience? Speaking of the audience, let's go to SM Rutrian from YouTube. What could be causing dry lips, dry hair, brain fog, feeling stressed all of the time? I'm also constantly thirsty, have bad breath, and sleep issues. Could these conditions all be related? There's a basket full.
So, dry eyes, dry lips, they typically will say it's a vitamin A deficiency, but it can also be a zinc deficiency as well. Um, it's one of those things where it's really hard to know without additional data, because I need to know, what are you eating? What are you missing in the diet? What are you eating that you shouldn't be eating? How much sunlight are you getting? What's your saturated fats versus your unsaturated fats? It's really hard to tell you. And I know people just want me to tell them a remedy that can fix all those. I really can't. But it sounds like your body's out of balance. So I think I would start with going on the right eating plan and then sorting it out. The good news of all this, so you and everyone watching right now, we're working on a project that'll be super valuable to you, that will pretty much answer all the questions that you're asking, and really help you get the right thing based on your body and your habits. So stay tuned for that. That's the mystery of the day.
Okay, in the meantime, what's the quickest way to get to the fundamental keto diet out of all the many things? Where do they go? drberg.com, or how can you just get laser focused right into that?
I would go to YouTube, and there's a video that says start here. Okay, video 1, start here. And then after that, the second video will be, say, step 2. Okay, and then there's a step 3. Watch those videos, walk you through the basics. And I also have those on the website too. If you go on drberg.com and type keto, and then I walk you through all that information, because it can be overwhelming with too much information, but this is why we have a place to start, and then you build on it. because people, you don't need all the details right away, just like the basics, and then you have a lot of questions. Well, guess what? We have a lot of answers on our website and also on the YouTube. But YouTube is a bit hard to navigate, so go to the website drberg.com.
Very good. Okay, Shack Attacks from Rumble. What are your thoughts on good old canola oil? Is that any different than the rest?
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it because it's GMO. Most of it's GMO, and it's an omega-6, and it's usually heated, and so you're buying this heated oil, and it's a seed oil. It's high in omega-6, so yeah, I would stay away from it. Yeah, I would stay away from it.
Okay, let's see. Believe it or not, it's not hard to believe. The audience has answered quiz question number 5, our final one for the day, and it was a true-falser. Most hypothyroid conditions require consuming more iodine. And let's see here. It slipped past me, but here it is. 95% of respondents say it's true, and 5% are holding out for no. That's not right. That's not right.
Here's the trick of the whole thing, because the majority of hypothyroid cases nowadays are Hashimoto's. And Hashimoto's is a hypothyroid situation, but it's not really a thyroid problem at all. It's an autoimmune, so it's an immune dysfunction. So you don't want to jump to add more iodine with Hashimoto's because you might make it worse. Instead, you want to take a different trace mineral called selenium. That greatly supports the immune system. It helps the conversion from T4 to T3, and it lowers your antibodies because you have antibodies to certain things that are helping you make the thyroid hormones. So we want to lower those. So high doses of vitamin D3 with your magnesium and selenium would be a really smart thing. And of course, getting your diet right. Don't not be eating all these grains, and especially wheat, the modern wheat.
All right, very good. Scanwall, what a bunch of Scanwall 3, excuse me. From YouTube, what nutrients are best for improving eye health? Asking for a teen who eats a balanced diet and your supplements. Didn't describe any problems, but anyway.
So a couple things that are really good for the eye, lutein and zeaxanthin. And guess where you get those? Egg yolks. So start eating more eggs. The other thing that's really important for the eye is to get some exposure to the sun. I'm not talking about looking into the sun, but being outside, getting the infrared. And you don't even have to, you can just be looking away. It'll go right in your body, and that will greatly help your eye. I'm going to release a video on this soon. It's fascinating. The other thing that destroys the eye is having too much artificial lights, the LED lights, fluorescent lights, and sitting in front of the artificial blue light at night is just terrible for the eyes. So it usually happens, you'll notice it when you get 47 years old, you're going to start noticing like, what, gosh, I need these glasses. Well, could be the light. Light is a therapy from the sun. So if you're younger and you want a really important tip that I wish I had when I was your age, is I would spend less time in artificial lights and start to mimic the sunlight. So they have different lights that you could put in your house. Halogen lights kind of mimic the sun. Incandescent bulbs are way better than the LED, but I like the halogen ones because they actually mimic the sun even more than the incandescent. So you can get these halogen lights and put them around, not everywhere, but just especially the rooms that you're in more often. And then towards the evening, about 2 hours before you go to bed, dim the lights, maybe have some blue blockers on if you're watching TV, and don't expose to your blue light. That way your melatonin will go up. You'll start working on your circadian rhythm wave. And then in the morning, when you wake up, go outside, get some sun for 20 minutes. That'll give you the blue light to wake up your body and help the circadian waves work correctly. Boy, I probably wouldn't have need these anymore if I would have done that.
Missed the boat. Okay, here's a question. So we know that clothing, I guess, primarily blocks UV. How about infrared? It seems to be so magical it penetrates. Will it go through clothes at all, or is it only when it hits your skin?
Yes. Yes, it goes through clothes. UV
Interesting.
goes through clothes. Yeah, it'll actually. Um, I didn't know this, but I'm going to release this video on it. But the some of these sun rays will go right through your entire body, right straight through. Now, the other cool thing about infrared, which is super therapeutic from the sun, is it reflects off the grass and the trees. So if you're out in a green environment, if you notice, the grass is not warm, the leaves aren't warm. They're reflecting all that wonderful rays right into you. This is why being in a green environment uh, is amazing. So you're getting it different ways. It's kind of one of those missing pieces of the puzzle. I mean, because the infrared will increase nitric oxide for the arteries. You got vitamin D. You got melatonin being produced inside your cells, which is a very powerful antioxidant. You have the circadian waves. So our bodies, our biology, our DNA, we're all developed with a lot more sun than we get now. And I would say that, I'd venture to say that's probably one of the cheapest, most therapeutic things you can do is to get more sun. But we've been taught that sun is bad, so put on sunscreen, which is the worst advice in the world.
Very good. Okay, this is
One last point. I know someone's going to say something about this, but I'm just saying, go out in the sun, and then get out of the sun before you get burnt. Okay, so just get slightly pink and your body will adapt. But the point is, I'm not saying get too much sun, just get enough sun. But you can overdo it and just bake yourself and get burnt, and that's not healthy either. So, but I just want to emphasize the deficiency of sun that we have.
all right. There is a balance. Jack from Facebook, best sea salts without plastics. Does Pacific, like an ocean sea salt, have them?
I don't know, but I do know that I think a good idea to get your sea salt from an ancient sea before they had plastics. Himalayan is a good one, but they also have rock salt deep in the earth. So Redmond's rock salt. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Celtic salts, Arlo, I don't know if they have any plastics. You can search that, but I would definitely get a salt that doesn't have the plastic. I don't know about the Pacific Ocean salt. I don't know.
All right. Sonia from Facebook, what's the solution for lipedema and lymphedema? Lipedema and lymphedema? I didn't know there was two things.
Yeah, so we're dealing with the lymphatic system. This is one area where I have not figured out what to do for that condition. I just have not found something successful, so I can't really give you a suggestion other than just maintain a healthy lifestyle. I do know, though, when you have hypothyroid issues, you develop this type of fat that appears to be related to the lymphatic system. But in that case, I would just try to strengthen the thyroid as much as possible to deal with it. But again, the root cause needs to be addressed. And I think with time, we'll be able to figure that out, especially as related to this new project that I'm involved with, which I'm not going to say anything because I want to get it done first.
All right, that is exciting. Lindsay from Facebook, what's the solution for mold exposure that's causing nervous system inflammation?
Yeah, you're going to have to just completely and utterly get out of that environment. And there's a whole protocol for mold exposure that involves not just a kind of a detoxification, but the strengthening of the mitochondria and certain other parts of the cells. I think you can just watch my video on that, but because I'm not going to necessarily list them right now. There's a lot to that question.
Okay, here's a chill guy, who I bet he's not too chill right now, from YouTube. Have you heard of phage therapy with a PHAGE for Lyme disease? Screws up a lot of people. If so, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so there's this, it's actually kind of like this virus that actually kills off bacterial infection. And it's a whole therapy. It's quite interesting. They don't mess with our cells, but they'll kill bacteria. There's quite a few of them in the oceans and the environment. I don't know a tremendous amount on it. I never actually got into it too much, but I heard some good things about it. You'll have to do some research and maybe try it out, see what happens.
All right. Good luck. Good luck with that. Narges from from Facebook. What's the best diet for someone with postpartum rage, depression, and insomnia? That also affects a lot of women.
So I would look at what happens during menopause. What happens is you have this big drop in estrogen. And with that, the enhancement of insulin resistance and the blockage of vitamin D. So I would start upping your vitamin D. And with the insulin resistance, that can really make you angry, irritated. I would start to get on a low carb, do a lot more intermittent fasting. That can help that. Also take a lot more B1. I think you can correct this mostly with diet and better sleep. So that's what I would do. But the whole raging thing, I really personally think it's related to blood sugars, especially in these children. Sometimes you see these kids that are raging too, and you see what they're eating. I'm like, oh my gosh. Because I do know, even where I live on a farm, when kids come to our farm for a couple days with their parents, after eating, because there's no junk food, you can't find junk food in my house. So after being forced to eat some healthier foods, that after day 2, they're calm, but more themselves.
Wow, that's encouraging. JR from Facebook. What are the best food supplements to consume if you have arthritis?
Niacinamide has been said to help people, so that's something you could try. Niacinamide, which is a type of B3. It's not niacin, it's niacinamide. It's a different version. But I think one of the most important remedies to try is Tadka for that, on an empty stomach twice a day. You might. I did a video on it, and it kind of tells you why. The standard thing that most people will tell you is to increase your omega-3 from fish oils or cod liver oil, and then decrease your seed oils. But out of all of the things that produce probably the biggest anti-inflammatory effect, it's vitamin D in combination with magnesium. So those 2 things I think would help you too.
All right, let's go to BRLP from Rumble. Any advice to treat a plantar wart between the poor guy's toes?
So a lot of times that's coming from a virus. So there are some topical things you can take. I do know a lot of people have surgery for them and they dig them out. And then they end up with kind of like a scar, which creates problems. One thing, a little trick that you might want to try because it's painful. So let's say you have this Morton neuroma on the left foot underneath your second toe. If you took the opposite foot and pressed on the mirror image side, you're going to find it's going to be very tender. I'm not going to tell you why, because it's just kind of a mystery. But you work into that little spot and massage it as much as you can tolerate. And I tell you, you'll be surprised how the toe that the affected area is going to be a lot less painful. The neuroma it'll just be less irritating and be like, why is that? How does that work? And so I had a patient come in and I did that, and it was like a miracle. So she's like, she couldn't even walk on the foot. And then I worked on the opposite side. She goes, no, it's on the left side. I go, I know. So I worked on the right side and just completely, at least got it to the point where it didn't hurt. So that was good.
All right, this is interesting. De Capo from YouTube. My 20-year-old daughter has high levels of vitamin B12 in her blood. How can she reduce those levels? She is a vegetarian, takes no supplements, rarely eats vegetables. Wait a minute. She's a vegetarian, doesn't eat vegetables. Oh, well. Rarely eats vegetables and has poor diet overall.
Well, if you have a poor diet, I can tell you you're probably eating grains that are enriched with fortified vitamins. And you may even have a genetic issue with something called methylation, which has to do with the folic acid or folate and B12, in which case you need to take a specific nutrient for that. But I don't know the details. I think the best thing to do is to clean up the diet and recheck it. if you have too much B12, it must be coming from somewhere. So I would look for that. But also there's a genetic issue with that as well. I would look at and see if you can't get more clues to solve that mystery.
Okay, well, speaking of mystery, we're all excited about whatever announcements you have coming up. And with that, it's TGIF, and we're about out of time. Any last words, Doc?
Last words of wisdom. Yes. I just did a video that I think you'll find very interesting about how Big Pharma and Big Food has now shifted a lot of the marketing resources to helping recover their trust issues. There's the lowest trust issues. I think it's 30, 35%, 38% trust. So they're having a hard time, with their marketing and things. So they're going after influencers. So influencers are the next. Rent your trust from an influencer. So when you're going on social media and you see people that are kind of indirectly promoting certain drugs or even bashing people that are against drugs like me, realize they could be sponsored. They're supposed to legally put down the sponsor underneath them, but sometimes they don't, and they put and like 40% of them don't even disclose who they're sponsored by. So you're going to be finding a lot of things online that are going to really support, real subtly, pharmaceutical companies. They're going to be attacking RFK, attacking MAHA, Making America Healthy Again, attacking wellness people, supporting seed oils. So you want to look at it from the viewpoint of what's their intention? Are they trying to keep the status quo the same and keep that going, or are they trying to improve healthcare and clean up the excessive medication and the drugs? So just kind of realize that's happening right now a lot, billions of dollars, but you're going to see a lot more of that. And what's really shocking is the amount of money that they're getting. I mean, an average influencer could probably make $20 per 1,000 views. Well, if you take someone with a much higher trusted platform, it's called a trust amplifier, and you can multiply that from 8 to 12 times. So that $25 turns into like over $300 per 1,000 views. So person with my channel, because I have a higher trust, I could probably make between $250,000 to $500,000 to do one video to promote Big Food or Big Pharma. But of course, the problem is the reason why I have trust is I don't do things like that. So, and I'm not going to, but it's incredible the amount of money that's involved in being the intermediate between industry and the consumer. And unfortunately, they're selling out because their opinions now are shifted. So on that note, have a wonderful weekend. I will see you tomorrow morning in my videos.